Let's be honest, Husker fans. It has been a phenomenal start to the season for Nebraska. We are 2-0, undefeated with a blowout victory versus Akron last weekend. But at the same time, despite all the optimism, all the great things that we've seen on the field, there is one massive problem that we need to solve sooner rather than later, or else it could derail our entire season. You already know what this is. None other than the Husker running backs, not necessarily with our starter, but everything else besides him. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a big time update with this position, what we have to do going forward. We're going to go over every single Husker running back, what they've done in the games, the pros, the cons, an update around practice, who's playing well, who isn't, and everything else you need to know. So really quick, this is going to be a very truthful and honest video. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? For daily contact and Huskers, it's no brainer. Take 2 seconds, join the family, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But on that note, let's get into it. We have a lot to talk about. Nebraska, we have a lot of good things about this team, a lot of optimism going forward. There's a lot of reasons to believe that we're going to be a 9, potentially a 10-win football team. But there's one massive concern specifically with this offense that we need to solve. And this shouldn't be a surprise. It was a concern in spring ball. It was a concern in the summer, and it was definitely a concern in fall camp. None other than the Husker running backs. What's going on there? Not necessarily with our starter, but we'll talk about him too. But with our bench, who that running back 2 is going to be, who that running back 3 is going to be, who is finally going to break out. Let's talk about it. I want to get things started with Emmett Johnson because he's the only Husker running back who really has been playing well. He's been playing up to his potential, up to his ceiling. So we'll talk about him first, but then we'll get to the problem as the video progresses. But Emmett Johnson, he's had a great start to the season. Of course, we know that versus Cincinnati, he had 108 yards, 25 carries, averaged 4 yards per carry. And then, of course, versus Akron, averaged 10 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, 140 yards on the ground. So Emmett Johnson, he's been lights out in multiple ways than one. His elusiveness, his speed, his ability to break tackles, his vision is probably the best part about Emmett. I think a lot of people, we love the spin move, we love the juke move, we love, how he can make you miss in the phone booth. That's all great. But what makes Emmett Johnson an elite running back is the fact that he is so smart, his IQ is great, and his vision is great. So when he's in the pocket and he's deciding to shoot through the A gap, B gap, C gap, he could do that in a second. All right, and he's going to make somebody miss. He's going to take, a gain that probably only should have been 2 yards, and he'll make it 4 yards. So make it 5 yards, right? And he'll break some tackles along the way. So Emmett Johnson's had a great start of the season. I will say this. I have been disappointed by 2 things around EJ. One, the pass catching hasn't been phenomenal. Of course, he had a big drop versus Cincinnati. He did have 7 receptions versus the Bearcats. I'll give him credit, but we were hoping for Emmett Johnson to be more of an elusive third down running back. That hasn't necessarily been the case yet. And there's a reason why Isaiah Mozee is now at running back, because they want him to be that third down guy. So Emmett, again, continuing to develop himself as a pass catcher. We haven't necessarily went to the screen game too much with him, which is one of Dane Holgorsen's staples. So I'm waiting for that big play against Michigan. I guarantee it's going to happen where we dial up a screen pass to Emmett. He takes about 20 or 30 yards down the field, get some blockers down the field with him. So I'm waiting for that play for Emmett, but that's the only thing I've been disappointed with. I will say the blocking hasn't been great too. They don't have him blocked too much because they know it's a liability. That's the reason why EJ really didn't play last year, is because his pass pro isn't phenomenal. And it's been the same way this year, right? It's hard to block in the Big Ten. I get it. But that's the only thing I'll say. Like, that's the only Conor and Emmett, but he's been really good. But the big concern around him has been, can you stay healthy? Because the workload that he had versus Cincinnati is not sustainable. And he only had 14 carries versus Akron, which is expected. But versus Michigan, it's going to likely be the case that he probably goes back to 20 carries, because we just don't have that running back position figured out right now. Like, Mehki Nelson's fine. We'll talk about him. Isaiah Mosee's fine. We'll talk about him. But are those guys good enough to get on the field against one of the best defensive lines in the Big Ten and be productive? Okay, not be a liability. Okay. Or would you rather put out Emmett Johnson, who can get yards for you and can be productive? And yes, you're risking injury, but maybe it's better to have him out there to help this offense rather than put out somebody who you don't really believe in, right? That's the big concern. Okay, because we know that this year it's a marathon, not a sprint. You need to be as healthy as possible, and we also know that the days of a bell cow running back, particularly in the Big Ten, that's gone. Okay, that's gone. It doesn't happen anymore. This league is too physical. It's too dominant. You need to have running back by committee. Okay, you look at Ohio State. They have running back by committee. You look at Penn State with Trent Allen and Nick Singleton, running back by committee. Okay, you don't have bell cows anymore, because if you have a bell cow, we know this, right? We've seen this before, whether it was with Gabe Ervin, whether it was with Anthony Grant, Dedrick Mills. If you have a running back by committee, or excuse me, a bell cow running back, they're going to get injured pretty quickly. So Emmett, he's been great, but you got to figure out the depth. Let's talk about it. Let's get things started with Mehki Nelson. Because Mekhi is the guy who every single time in a press conference, whether you hear from Dana Holgorsen, Matt Rule, EJ Barthel, doesn't matter. They always hype up what Mehki Nelson's doing in practice, what he's doing in games. They believe in him. And honestly, I haven't been too impressed with Mekhi. Now, he wasn't great against Cincinnati. He only had one snap. It really wasn't his fault. He had, I believe, one snap, and he had 0 yards. He got stuffed on the line of scrimmage. The reason why it wasn't his fault is because Haarberg got absolutely demolished on the block. Basically, an edge rusher came off the side, bull rushed him, and got Mehki Nelson down. So it really wasn't Mehki Nelson's fault. But, I mean, you go to Akron, he had 5 carries for 11 yards, okay? 2 yards a carry. Really? Right? And he had some nice plays in the receiving game. Again, he had about 50 yards through the air. So that was awesome. But the thing around Mehki Nelson, it's never his speed. It's never his size, right? He's explosive. He's a speedy player, and he has that upside. But the reason why I just don't believe that Mehki Nelson's ready just yet is because of the IQ. It's because of the smarts. When Mehki Nelson's in the pocket, basically the opposite of Emmett, again, he's very hesitant, right? He doesn't know what hole to go through, A gap, B gap, C gap. And when you're too hesitant, you get snapped, right? You get tackled very instantly, or too many times with Mekhi, right? He'll panic and he'll just go through the A gap when it's not there, right? He'll run to his own offensive lineman. So he doesn't have that vision just yet. He doesn't have the IQ, and that's probably the most important thing at that running back spot. And I know we've only seen him in 2 games, but the reason why I know that is because I've seen him in more than 2 games. I've seen him in high school. I've seen him in the spring game. I was taking notes on Mehki Nelson. So it's a tendency that kind of comes up in his game where he's so dominant when it comes to the speed and the size. I feel great about him there, but that's not really what matters. What matters is that you're a smart running back. When the hole's there, you shoot through it, right? You know what you're seeing. And Mekhi's just not there yet. So it does concern me that, like against Akron, for example, the offensive line, they were creating holes as big as the Pacific Ocean, right? We've never seen those big of holes in the A gap and the B gap. So for Mehki Nelson to average 2 yards a carry, like that doesn't really bode well with me going forward. And again, it's still a small sample size, right? But if he's our running back 2 going into Michigan, that's just not a good thing. And it probably means that Emmett's going to get 25 carries again. And I don't want him to get 25 carries against Michigan because you know what's going to happen, right? He's going to get worn and torn. And even if he doesn't get injured, he's not going to be the same running back because, again, it's going to hurt your body over time. So Mehki Nelson, that's my thoughts around him. Again, he can improve as the year progresses. He's a young player, and young players improve rapidly. So he's going to improve, but that's just my evaluation of kind of what he's done so far, right? And then going to, a couple other running backs we need to talk about. Isaiah Mozee. I've been honestly very much impressed with Isaiah. Again, we know that they don't have the Akron stats. Oh, here are the Akron stats. Here we go. We know that against Akron, he had 0 carries, but he was dynamic through the air. He had 3 receptions for 65 yards. He had that one where literally went about 50 yards. He broke multiple tackles. He juked out a couple of guys. He got down to the 10-yard line. So the thing around Isaiah, it's very clear to me that he is that Wan'Dale Robinson type guy, right? He's the 3rd down running back that we've been looking for forever. He can catch passes. He can play at receiver. He can play in the slot. He can block at a decently high level. I've been honestly a little bit surprised by. So Isaiah Mozee, I feel great about him as a 3rd down back. Like when there's a 3rd down, maybe a 3rd down 10, EJ should not be in the game. It should be Isaiah. But at the exact same time, I have the exact same issue with him, right? When it comes to Mehki Nelson. He's not a very smart running back just yet. And it's not his fault because he's just transitioned to play running back. He played a little bit in high school, but that's a big jump going to college football. He doesn't know what to read just yet. Again, the A gap, B gap shooting through it. So there's a reason why they don't feel very comfortable, actually having him take carries, right? They feel comfortable with him, catching the football, but they don't really feel comfortable with him going through the tackles, right? Just yet. So that's my big issue right now with Isaiah Mozee. And again, he's going to get better as the year progresses, but are you willing, and this is my question to you, are you willing as a fan to go through these learning curves, maybe for the, not to the benefit of this team and put him out there? Or are you willing to put an Emmett Johnson out there? It's probably going to be better for the team, but he might get injured. Okay, that's my big question. Because if you have Emmett Johnson out there all the time, you're likely going to be more productive on offense to score more points, but it might come with the risk that he'll get injured, and that's really detrimental long term. So that's my question to you. But Isaiah, again, he's a great 3rd down running back, but we need to find who that smart power back, short yardage back is, and we don't really have that yet. And then, we haven't talked about the other guys here real quick. Kwinten Ives played a little bit versus Akron. He officially had 4 carries for 34 yards. He had 1 carry pretty much for 30 yards where he scored a touchdown. Again, biggest hole in America. I could have ran through that B gap and scored a touchdown, right? You could have too. So Kwinten Ives, a good vision to find that gap. Other than that, he had 3 other carries that pretty much went nowhere. But I thought Kwinten Ives played all right. I was a little bit impressed with him. I saw the physicality in there. He's about 220 pounds at this point in time. I thought the vision was okay. At that point point in the ball game when he was playing, the backup offensive line was in there. So again, they weren't creating too much push for him, but I thought Kwinten Ives was decent. So I'm intrigued by him. I'm not going to go to conclusions because I've only seen 4 carries from him. But I mean, I was impressed, right? I want to see more of him. I want to see a lot of him versus Houston Christian, but maybe this could be our short yardage guy. Maybe this should be our power back going forward, our bruiser, our bully. Okay, because it's still pretty much wide open, but Kwinten Ives definitely intrigued from what I saw. And then again, talking about Connor Booth, he played a little bit. Well, I mean, it wasn't blown away with Connor Booth, right? Just wasn't blown away. We saw a little bit of Kenneth Williams as well. He had 1 carry for 15 yards. I actually don't remember the play at all. I think I left it a 2-minute warning. I think it was after that. So Kenneth Williams, I'm excited to see what he can do versus Houston Christian. Again, great speed, great explosiveness. He's arguably the fastest player in this running back core. And then the last guy I actually want to talk about really quick before we, have a truthful end of the conversation about the running backs is Haarberg. We know he's a tight end right now for Nebraska. Again, 6'5", great speed. But, I mean, let's be real. The experiment at tight end has not went very well so far. Again, I was rewatching the Cincinnati game. I was rewatching the Akron game. And there's just not really anything that Haarberg does well. Like, he can't block. And that's not shocking, right? I mean, he was awful blocking for Cincinnati. He was getting bull rushed every play. So he can't block. He can't really run routes very well, which is expected because he hasn't been playing tight end for very long. So he's not a crisp route runner. I mean, we don't know about his hands because he hasn't really been, the ball hasn't been thrown his way, but he hasn't been open. So, I mean, he's not great at tight end. We'll just put it at that. But he is very athletic and he is very speedy. So I'm at that point now with Haarberg where, heck, I wouldn't mind seeing him in the backfield versus Houston Christian. I wouldn't mind it. Maybe that's crazy, but I think, honestly, you could utilize him at running back a little bit better than you could at tight end, right? That could be his future. Maybe not in the NFL. Maybe tight end's better for his NFL future if he ends up getting there. But this year for Nebraska, I would love to see him in the backfield. Maybe he could be our thumper, right? We'll see. But that's kind of something I want your thoughts on. Let me know in the comment section because we're at that point at running back where, I mean, we just need answers. We need anybody to show up. So why not try out Haarberg there? Because, again, tight end isn't really working so far. Again, it's only been 2 games, but I mean, if you're getting bull, if you can't block at a high level versus Akron, which was the case, yeah, you're not going to be able to block versus Michigan. that's for sure. So, I mean, overall, talking about the running backs, again, there's been a lot of good and there's been a lot of bad. I will say this, and I told you guys the exact same thing about the defensive line. The running backs are going to get a lot better because they're young and they're all very talented. So the running back core likely is going to be a lot more developed by the time we get to Iowa, by the time we get to Penn State than what it is now. But the problem is we need to figure it out now, right? We need to go through these learning curves now because the Big Ten doesn't wait, okay? The Big Ten's not going to give us handouts because we have a bad running back core and they're young and they're developing. They're going to take advantage of you. So while we feel great about Emmett and he's proven that he's a top 10 running back in this conference, you can't ride him. You just can't, okay? And the big question is, what is the staff going to do? Because they have a predicament. And they know it's a predicament. They know it's an issue. They're very aware of this. They talk about this every press conference. What is Matt Rhule going to do? Is he going to ride Emmett Johnson, let him be the bell cow, and let him potentially get injured? Are you going to risk that? Or are you going to put in Mehki Nelson in a big-time game or Isaiah Mozee in a big-time game to take big-time handoffs and potentially, for the detriment of this offense, for maybe we won't score as many points, won't have as many yards because of that, but it'll save Emmett Johnson, in his health, in his wear and tear. Okay, that's the big question. Are we going to risk this offense and success just for Emmett Johnson's health? I don't know, right? I don't know, but I need to see some more development from these young guys. Like I'm at the point with Emmett, I wouldn't mind even like not playing Emmett at all versus Houston Christian. I've seen enough of Emmett. I know he's a good player. Like start Mekhi. Like how about this? Mekhi goes out there first quarter, plays the entire first quarter. Then we got Ives out there the entire second quarter. Then we got Mozee out there the entire third quarter. And the fourth quarter, you can do a little bit of everything. You go put Kent Williams in there, put Connor Booth in there, put Haarberg out there. I don't care. Why not? Why not? We're going to beat Houston Christian. Might as well experiment. That's my big question, though. Who's going to step up? And if I were to give you an answer, I do believe it's going to be Isaiah Mozee. I do. Because with that kid's work ethic, with his explosiveness, he can break tackles at a high level. He's going to figure it out. He's going to figure out the IQ. Sometimes that just comes with reps. Like when you get more and more reps in actual games, you're going to have that IQ build and you're going to know what gap to shoot through. And you're going to be more comfortable taking handoffs. So that's what I think is going to be very big for Mozee, along with Mekhi as well. Can they get more reps inside games and then they're going to become a smarter running back? But again, that's something I'm absolutely have my eyes out on going forward because the reason why the running back position is so important, if Emmett Johnson were to go down, you pretty much have no running game, and then you can only throw the football. And if you can only throw the football in the Big Ten, they're going to exploit you pretty quickly, and then suddenly you're going to have no offense. So, all right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. What's the answer? I want to hear your thoughts. Hey, if you made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go be great, go Mad Roll, and I'll see you in the next one.